How's it going, guys? Brian Danoff here. Welcome back to my channel. Happy holidays. And I know it's been a while since my last video, but could not pass up the opportunity to talk about this. Juan Soto, ladies and gentlemen, is a New York Yankee. And man, that feels amazing to say. It is Thursday morning. The trade happened late last night. After a couple days of, a lot of baseball writers saying the trade was close, the trade was being finalized, the trade was on the 1 yard line. And, when trades like that, when that happens, but then when it just kind of keeps getting delayed for some reason, it does start to make you tense up as a fan, and it starts to make you wonder, could this trade fall through? And we obviously saw what happened last offseason with Carlos Correa signing with the Giants and then the Mets and then back with the Twins. Anything can sort of happen. Clearly last winter proved that. But no, the trade was finalized and it is done. The Yankees and Padres announced it. The Yankees went all out on social media last night. First of all, the first thing they posted after the trade was on Twitter. They tweeted, John, Jon, Juan Soto appears headed to Yankees. And that was clearly a little dig at Jon Heyman, who a year ago on that very day put out Arson Judge appears headed to Giants. Obviously that didn't happen. I guess it did happen. Arson Judge went to the Giants, but Aaron Judge stayed with the Yankees, of course. And then they announced the trade. They put out a hype video. And it's just so great that they got this done, and I have to give credit to Hal Steinbrenner, to Brian Cashman. I have become, in the last couple years, given what has happened with this team, I've become very pessimistic. I've become very negative, and I hate that. I hate to admit that, but it's true. And I've been very frustrated with the moves the team has made, or the moves the team has decided not to make in the last 3, 4, 5 years, going back to the Bryce Harper free agency. I know it sounds like, it's a broken record at this point, but, and then obviously the Josh Donaldson and IKF trade, and not signing a guy like Corey Seager or Carlos Correa, but got to give credit here. This was the move that the Yankees genuinely needed to make. They could not afford to not make this trade if they wanted to field a competitive team in 2024, and that is what they did. And it's great. And again, it was the obvious move, but for once, the Yankees made it. This is the first time they made the decision since signing Garrett Cole, which obviously that also was another no-brainer move, right? You had to get him. And now here they are with Juan Soto, bringing him into the fold. The Yankees didn't give up that much, in all honesty. I mean, it is a 1-year rental, and we'll get to that. But for 1 year of Juan Soto, I still think the package is worth it. Michael King was a great pitcher for the Yankees the last couple of years, going from, that kind of fireman, bullpen arm, a la Andrew Miller, a guy who could just kind of come in whenever you needed him to in a high-leverage situation and get some outs, strike some guys out. And then obviously, this past year, they started stretching him out, making him a starter, and he made 10 or 11 really, really solid starts, if my memory is correct. And I was really looking forward to seeing him in the rotation next year, but he is almost 29. He is not that young. And, 2 years ago, Yankee fans would have said, yeah, I'll trade Michael King for Juan Soto. I barely even know who that is. So, good luck to him in San Diego. Obviously, I hope he has a ton of success. But even if he does, the talent the Yankees are getting in Juan Soto, I think just outweighs that. And then the other pitchers, obviously, Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, Drew Thorpe. Thorpe is a prospect. Brito and Vasquez were depth pieces for the Yankees last year. They made a number of starts, had some decent stuff. I also think they could go on to have some pretty decent careers. And Thorpe, obviously, is a highly rated prospect. So, I guess it hurts to lose him. But he was only up to, I think, AA, Somerset. And then obviously Kyle Higashioka, who, longtime catcher, fan favorite, caught Corey Kluber's no-hitter, caught Domingo Germán's perfect game this year. And, you know, he's been with the team, I think, since 2008. Everyone's been saying that, and it's kind of crazy to think about just how different the Yankees were, how different the world was back then. And it's kind of crazy to think he's been with the Yankees that long. He didn't really get to the majors until, I think, 2017, 2018. But then he stayed there. He was the backup catcher for you know, once Austin Romine left, he was the backup catcher and caught more than, you know, your average backup catcher, because the Yankees have had those weird sort of, you know, platoons with whether it was Gary Sanchez in 2021 and then Trevino the last couple of years, and then Austin Wells, you know, towards the end of last year. But so good luck to Higashioka. Good luck to, you know, everyone else going to San Diego. But bottom line is, I don't think the Yankees will miss anyone in that package, because they have one of the most talented hitters, pure hitters in all of baseball. Soto, I've been, you know, such a fan of really since he made his debut, and I almost I didn't let myself dream that this could happen. I know there was a lot of smoke the last calendar year, you know, going back to last trade deadline. The Yankees seemingly were in on him, and fans really wanted that to happen. And then he went to San Diego, and then San Diego, it just seemed like that was it. That was the move. And now they had Machado and Tatis, and then they added Bogarts last winter, and it was just like, they're building a super team. At minimum, Soto's going to be with San Diego through through 2024, and then he'll become a free agent, and then maybe the Yankees can try to sign him. But it was something I just didn't know if it was even worth getting my hopes up for. And sure enough, it has happened, and it's surreal, and it's so exciting, and it makes me wish opening day was tomorrow. This will make me miss the Yankees tremendously until spring training starts. I already kind of always do around this time of year, but even more so now. Again, what's not to love about this guy? I mean, he is 25 years old already. Genuinely, I know it's a lot to put on a guy, and a lot of to hear this. If I'm him, it would probably freak me out. But he is on a Hall of Fame path. Like everyone has said, that's also sound like a broken record, but his OPS is always over 900. He's hitting 25, 30, 35 home runs every year, ton of doubles, a shit ton of walks. I mean, my God, all this guy does is get on base, and he generally stays healthy too. He plays a ton of games every year. You know, health has obviously been one of the biggest issues with the Yankees these last 3, 4, 5 years. And hoping that somehow can change going into next year. And he's just the total package. He is probably easily he's definitely one of the top 10 hitters in baseball, maybe top 5, maybe on his best day, top 3. It's him, Aaron Judge, and some other guy. I don't know. Aaron Judge obviously also, I mean, that's another thing too. That's what's kind of crazy to me is like, You get excited for Juan Soto, and then you remember, oh yeah, they also still have Aaron Judge. Like, not that I would ever forget about him, but when the idea of them two together, whether it's for 1 year or whether it's for 7 or 8 or 9, you know, either possibility is just very intriguing, and lets you really, really dream big about what the Yankees could do. This certainly next year, of course. And I think, like the team has sort of alluded to, he's going to play a lot of right field. If there's one knock on him, it is his defense, and that's been kind of talked about a decent amount. And fans of opposing teams kind of want to say, oh, his defense is so bad that it outweighs his offense, and I don't buy that for a second, especially given the fact that he's going to be playing right field again. Right field, the Yankee Stadium is not a hard position to play. Aaron Judge makes it look, I mean, he does an amazing job out there, obviously. But I don't see him being an issue defensively in right field at Yankee Stadium. On the road, say at Fenway Park, say at a more challenging ballpark, well, that's where you then turn to maybe Alex Verdugo. You have Alex Verdugo go out and play right field in Boston. And Or, you give Trent Grisham a start. That's another thing, too. They got Grisham as well. And I'm not expecting him to be anything incredible, but I hope he's nothing more than a fourth or fifth outfielder who plays once or twice a week. If he is a starter who gets 500 at bats, that means the Yankee season has gone terribly wrong in some fashion. So, I'm excited for his defense. I'm excited for, the idea of him being this kind of lefty guy off the bench who has some pop, who does hit lefties sort of well. He doesn't hit righties at all, so that's a problem. He didn't even hit 200 last year, I don't remember the last time he hit over 200. So he's not certainly, and he strikes out a lot, certainly Joey Gallo-esque. But the difference is, the Yankees aren't relying on Grisham to be in the middle of the lineup the way they were with Gallo. Hopefully he has a role in the team and he can just play that role, and I think he can do that really well. So yeah, getting back to it again, I don't think Soto's defense is going to cost the Yankees a lot of games, and I think his bat is going to win the Yankees a considerable amount of games in the end. And it was the move that had to happen. It makes them insanely, as watchable as they are when Judge is playing. Now you add Soto into that, it's going to make me want to go to the stadium more. It's going to make me want to support this team more. And that's great. That's what I want to feel about my favorite baseball team. I don't want to be down in the dumps. I don't want to be this negative person who just thinks there's no hope ever. This gives the Yankees and their fans so much hope going into next year. And again, or not again, I need to make this point. The team is not complete. It's still not complete. They just gave up a ton of their starting pitching depth in this trade, obviously. They really don't have a fifth starter. They have four starters that I can think of off the top of my head. It's Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, Nestor Cortez, and Clark Schmidt. And you can argue that besides Cole, the other three are basically question marks in their own ways. What is Schmidt going to do in his sophomore season after a pretty good first full season as a starter? Overall, he really found his stride, towards the middle of the end of the season. Rodon was hurt. Cortez was hurt. Rodon especially, all the money he's being paid, it was a disastrous first year. Not just injuries-wise, because then when he was back, he looked awful, and he had those couple of weird incidents with fans and the media, and it was a really bad start, and he really needs to turn it around in a big way for him to get fans back on their side and on his side, and to make that contract somewhat worth it. And again, Nestor as well. Like I said, injuries, and what is he gonna? Is he his 2022 self, or was that a flash in the pan? We're gonna find out. So they need to add starting pitching. Obviously, they are still gonna be going hard after Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the Japanese ace, who is coming over. There is a ton of interest there. Obviously, a lot of teams are interested, including the Mets, including Steve Cohen. They're going to throw a lot of money at him, but I think the Yankees are too. And I don't know if Hal Steinbrenner, after making this trade, I don't think he wants to follow that up by losing a negotiation to Steve Cohen. So I have a lot of confidence and optimism that can get done as well. And then if you get Yamamoto and then you add him to the top of the rotation with Cole, then we're really talking. And the bullpen is already pretty good. I saw a report this morning. They're interested in Jordan Hicks for potential back end of the bullpen piece. That'd be great. Dude throws 100 miles an hour. And the Yankees always sort of find a pitcher in the minors to kind of turn into a pretty decent arm, whether it's a guy like Ron Marinaccio, or it was Greg Weissert sort of last year in a way, and they flipped him to Boston for Verdugo. I guess Weissert wasn't that great, but you get my point. The bullpen's pretty good. The lineup now, pretty good. When we really get into it, again, like last year and the year before, besides putting Judge and Soto aside, there is, like the rotation, there is a lot that has to go right, that the Yankees have to figure out. What is Giancarlo Stanton going to give you? Is Anthony Rizzo truly healthy and truly past his concussion? His concussion that no one knew he had for several months. That is just so terrifying. I'm glad he's literally just physically okay and able to function, let alone play Major League Baseball. So you wonder with him, you know, Anthony Volpe needs to be better offensively than he was in 2023. You hope Gleyber Torres continues his really strong season last year, but he's had some ups and downs, obviously, these last 3 or 4 years. So, you know, a lot still will have to break right for the Yankees, and clearly, basically nothing did last year. So, you know, you also have that confidence that, hey, if things just return to the mean, maybe there'll be a better outcome. Maybe this team can get back to winning 95, 100 games and win the division and make a deep playoff run. That's obviously what we all want, and we want a World Series. And, you know, adding a guy like Juan Soto, who has that championship pedigree, he has a ring, he has that experience, he is unfazed by the big moment. That's really important. It's important to have a guy like that around. And in a weird way, as young as he is, he joins this team, this group of players that have not really won. Anthony Rizzo has a ring. So does Juan Soto. No one else in that lineup really does. Garrett Cole doesn't have a ring. He got close with the Astros, obviously, but Soto was one of the reasons why he didn't win one. So it's always nice to add a guy like that into the clubhouse, and I think he's going to handle New York great. I think, you know, by all accounts, he wants to be a Yankee, and something I forgot to even get into yet, I will right here, and then I'll end the video. This is a one-year rental, right? It has the potential to be that, and you know, there's two schools of thought there. It's oh no, this could only be a one-year rental, and then the Yankees are going to lose Soto after giving up all these pitchers, and then if they don't win a World Series and he leaves, and then it's even worse. It's even more of a disaster. But then there's the optimistic view of, well, the Yankees have a year to sell him on New York. I don't think he's going to sign an extension. I really don't. Scott Boras is his agent. Soto is going to be a free agent. But again, the Yankees will get their first crack at pitching him on New York, on pitching him on a long term, on being a face of this team. And, you know, as young as he is, you can realistically say he'll be the face of this team after Aaron Judge, and he'll already be the It's him and Judge. Him, Judge, and Cole are the poster childs of the Yankees. You know, they'll be on every ad in the city. They'll be on every radio commercial. They'll be all over the place, right? Social media. So I think there's a lot that Juan Soto will really like about being a Yankee, and I think again, he'll get an entire season to see how he feels about it. I can't imagine he'll dislike it as long as the team is good and as long as he performs. I know fans can be really hard on players, but I think we all really want to embrace Soto. We all want to love this guy. We all want him to stay. And I think that'll, you'll sense that at games. You'll sense that at the stadium. It's no question to me that he's going to be productive and he's going to be one of the best hitters in baseball next year. And, I think it's important to just keep that in mind and get excited for that, regardless of what ends up happening with the free agents, with his free agency. No matter what, we know that Juan Soto will wear the pinstripes, will be a Yankee for an entire year, all of next year, and we'll worry about what happens after that when we get there, right? And I'll be honest, I'll say it. I mean, if the Yankees win the World Series next year, and I want them to make a huge effort to keep Soto, but if they somehow fell short of that, and if the Dodgers just sort of dumped $500 million on him or something crazy happens, but if the Yankees win that ring, I'll be okay. I'll be very happy, and I will not, I will trust me, I'll survive with all my Yankees World Series gear that I would be decked out in head to toe the same way when I was 11 when the team won in 2009. So that's really it, guys. What do you think about Juan Soto coming to the Yankees? I mean, if there's anyone opposed to it, if there's anyone against it, I guess I want to hear from you, but I really question your fandom, because this is the guy that every Yankee fan had been preaching that they needed, the team needed, and Cal and Cashman, they're so stupid to not be adding guys like him. Well, now they did. So what's there to be upset about? Certainly when the season rolls around, I will have things to be upset about, because that's the kind of fan I am. But I can dream, and in December, the holiday season, I can get excited, I can dream, I can believe that Soto and hopefully Yamamoto will turn this team back into the Bronx Bombers, the Evil Empire, and they can finally win number 28. I've been saying that in YouTube videos for literally 15 years now. Let's hope I don't have to keep saying that much longer. But yeah, again, happy holidays. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for my next video, which is coming out soon by the end of this month. I promise. I made a trailer to hold myself accountable. If you saw it, you can go check, and if you haven't, you can go check that out. It's about the forgotten first game at Yankee Stadium, the new Yankee Stadium. Everyone, you think about the first game, you think about them playing Cleveland, Jorge Posada hitting the first home run, Jeter using Babe Ruth's bat at home plate, right? But no, there was another game that happened before that. There were 2 games that happened before that, and I was at the first one. And it's a really kind of fun video I'm really enjoying making and putting together for you guys, and I really hope you enjoy it. So, yeah, again, thanks for watching. Go Yankees, and I'll see you guys next time.